All right, let's just jump right in. We all know rock music is rebellious, right? It's the loud guitars, the whole defiant attitude. It's kind of its brand. But what if I told you that rebellion isn't just an attitude, that it's actually a full-blown philosophy, one with some seriously deep roots?
So that's the real question we're going to tackle. What is the philosophical engine that's actually driving all that sound and fury? Where does that powerful feeling of dissent really truly come from?
Because here's the thing, the rebellion you hear is built on this complex foundation of ideas. We're talking about freedom, identity, and the struggle against authority. It's basically a school of thought you can headbang to.
To really get this philosophy, we've got to go back, way back. See, rock's rebellion didn't just pop up out of nowhere. It was forged in the fire of some really powerful movements that came before it. So let's look at the DNA here. First, you've got the blues. This is where that gritty existential realism comes from, facing life's harshness with this incredibly resilient spirit. Then, the folk revival sweeps in, with socially conscious lyrics, turning music into a legit tool for political critique. And then you get the Beat Generation, who just flat-out rejected mainstream conformity. Rock music comes along, grabs all these threads, and weaves them into something totally new and explosive. And this slide just lays it all out, doesn't it? It's a total culture clash. On one side, you've got post-war square society, all about materialism and fitting in. But on the other side, the Beat Generation. And they were all about spontaneity, nonconformity, and chasing authentic experiences. This massive clash of values, it created the absolute perfect breeding ground for a rebellious new art form. And right around the same time, this big idea called existentialism is really taking hold. At its heart, it's all about individual freedom. It's this heavy but also kind of liberating idea that you are responsible for creating your own meaning in a universe that isn't just going to hand you one.
And this is how that big, abstract idea becomes real in rock music. You see it in the rock icon, that lone outsider, standing against the crowd, refusing to play the part society gave them, and forging their own identity. That right there, that is the existentialist hero.
Okay, so we've traced the roots, but how does all this philosophy actually, show up in the songs? Let's take a look at the lyrics, the Rebels Manifesto.
When you really boil it down, that rebellious message in rock lyrics tends to circle around three main philosophical themes: kicking back against power, a massive focus on the individual, and, well, a little dance with the darker ideas of chaos and meaninglessness.
First up, anti-authoritarianism. And let's be clear, this is way more than just teenage angst. It's a deep, fundamental distrust of any concentrated power. Doesn't matter if it's political, religious, or corporate. A lot of these lyrics are basically tapping into anarchist principles, questioning why these structures have power in the first place.
Next, you've got individualism. This is that whole be true to yourself vibe, and it's a perfect echo of that existentialist idea that existence precedes essence. What does that mean? It means you're not born with a set purpose. You create your own. So the lyrics celebrate the outsider, the nonconformist, the person who dares to be different, instead of just another face in the crowd.
And finally, we get to the plunge into nihilism and the absurd. Now, I know that sounds super bleak, but it's not always about despair. A lot of the time, it's about looking at a chaotic, maybe meaningless universe, and instead of giving up, you respond with this defiant shout of joy. It's a celebration of life's intensity, because it's so fleeting and absurd. But rock isn't just poetry, right? The philosophy is baked right into the sound itself. The music is every bit as important as the message.
So yeah, how do you make a philosophy audible? How do you turn a complex idea like a critique of hierarchical power into a sound, into a chord progression?
Well, one way is with dissonance. All those jarring, aggressive sounds, the distortion, the feedback, the sudden shifts, they're not just random noise. No way. They are the sound of society cracking apart. It's a direct challenge to the neat and tidy harmony of the status quo. It's literally the sound of things breaking.
But hey, rebellion isn't only about tearing things down. It's also about building something new. And that's where the anthem comes in. Those huge soaring vocals and those uplifting chords, they inspire this amazing sense of shared purpose and hope. It's the sound of a community, a collective voice rising up together.
And that brings us to rock's most powerful philosophical tool, the simple guitar riff. Seriously, think about it. The repetition makes it hypnotic. It just gets stuck in your head. Its memorability turns it into a rallying cry everyone knows. And the result? A simple string of notes forges a collective identity, uniting thousands of people under one banner of sound. It's incredible.
So we've got the words, we've got the sound. There's just one last piece to this puzzle: the artist who brings it all to life. See, the rock icon is so much more than just a musician. They're a philosophical agent. That whole public persona, the charismatic rebel, it's this carefully built, living, breathing embodiment of all these ideas of defiance and independence and self-creation. They don't just sing the philosophy, they are the philosophy. And that's why a live show is so potent. It's not just a concert, it's a philosophical act. The stage becomes this ritual space where, just for a couple of hours, the normal rules of the world don't apply, and a whole community is built around these shared rebellious values. So, when you put it all together, what do you get? You see that Rock's Rebellion is this living, breathing philosophical tradition. It's this continuous conversation that started way back with the early blues and is still going on today, always asking us the big questions about freedom, about justice, and about the human spirit. Which kind of leaves us with one last thing to think about. If music can really be a philosophy for life, what's on the soundtrack to your rebellion? What's the music that fuels your own search for an authentic life? It's a good question to chew on. Thanks for tuning in.